Hello. Good evening. Hope everyone's doing all right. One person waiting, apparently, and nobody in show as yet, as far as I can tell. But we're here, and good evening. I'm going to change that. There we go. Brand new setting in the chat, by the way, guys. Don't know if you've noticed. Well, you probably haven't, but there's this new option for either live chat where I can see literally everything that is posted, or top chat, which basically just gives me the top posts. I don't know why they've thought of that, really, but they have. So I hope everyone's doing all right. Looks like my picture is not very good this evening. I do apologize. I am looking still at some options whereby we could maybe get higher quality streaming, but at this point, this is what we have to make do with for the time being. So I'm sorry about that, folks. And I just hope that the quality of audio is not too bad. Streaming, but at this, okay, audio's maybe okay. Yeah, let me know, guys, what you guys are seeing and hearing in terms of audio and picture quality. So who do we have so far? Wow, we're up to 8 already, and we've only just got started, really. 2 minutes in. Awesome. So who do we have? We have Kingston, my good friend over in the Caribbean. Good to see you. Good morning. Good evening. And Just Bob is here, and John Anderson, Sean Aaron, Jezerinak is here, and Bobby Booth, who no live stream would be complete without, and he is here. That's awesome. And Chris is here, Chris Beebe. He says you are very handsome nonetheless. Thank you very much. Very good in Southern California. Very good. And Bobby says everything okay. John Anderson says my pick is fine. Audio is great. Well, that's good to hear. Streaming is good and audio is great. And Andy Arthur is here. Good to see you, Andy. Andy and I had a little chat before the show started, and he wanted to see exactly where my channel was and everything so he could come on the show, which is great. So I'm glad you're here. And Kingston is very definitely here, which is cool. So we are 4 minutes into the show, and we're just going to wait just a little bit for people to shuffle in, and then we'll make a start with the actual show proper. And Chris says, you said my last name properly, 90% miss and miss it first try. Yeah, you know what? I have the same trouble, believe it or not. My last name is Lipsham. That's how it's meant to be pronounced. And most people, they don't have a clue how to say it. Sadly, it's mostly my American friends that don't seem to be able to say it right. But that's okay. Regional dialectic variations I will accept. That's absolutely fine, but blatant mispronunciation is not really on. Andy says, I'll go lock up my chickens. Cool. Good man. Chickens are good. Especially as they will provide you with a never-ending supply of eggs, and maybe one of them will even lay a golden egg one day. John Anderson says, sad news about Gibson. Yes, Gibson are pretty much about to become no more after more than 100 years of production of some of the great guitars, and they made basses as well. But they've had, should we say, they've made some fairly lousy business decisions in the last few years. One of which was just purchasing everything that they could see, including Cakewalk and all of the products associated with Cakewalk. And they had to basically discontinue that because they couldn't afford to make it anymore, and they couldn't afford the cost of maintaining it and developing it. So that got down, and that really was pretty much the start, I think. But their guitars have been substandard for a long time. and their prices have been stupid high for substandard products. You know, their budget line, the Epiphone guitars, are actually way better than their top, you know, top line guitars, and it's sad. It's sad because, you know, Gibson have been, along with Fender, really the two pioneering guitar manufacturers in the world. I mean, you know, they were there right at the start of electrification of guitars. You know, I'm trying to recall the guitar that Charlie Christian played actually when he was with the Benny Goodman band. And Charlie Christian was pretty much the first electric guitar player, and pretty much pioneered every modern technique of guitar playing that we know about. Every technique has pretty much been derived from his pioneering talent, albeit far too short-lived. Charlie Christian had a very short life, sadly. Stereolab62 is here. He says, greetings from the San Francisco airport terminal waiting for a flight. Oh, right. Where are you headed? You headed anywhere nice? Or are you headed home from somewhere nice? I don't know. That'd be cool. So we've got 15 people watching now, which is very cool. 15 people is just now dropped to 14. But you know what? I'm not really going to worry too much about who's here and who's not. As far as I'm concerned, if you're all here, I'm incredibly grateful to you for being here. So thank you very much. However many people are in here, whether it's 1 or whether it's 15 or 20 or 50, it doesn't bother me. I'm happy to have people here. Just Bob says, agreed, Johnny. Epiphone is way better product. Hope that Epiphone will survive this mess. Yeah, I hope so too. I hope that somebody buys them and looks after them and looks after Epiphone customers and, you know, kind of like takes care of the product line. That would be amazing to see that line continue in its own right somehow. Stereolab says he won a screenwriting award in Portland. Well, congratulations to you, my friend. You're a man of many talent, clearly. So that's fantastic. Well done. I'm very proud of you for achieving that. Peter says, hey Peter, good to see you. He says, I found out something amazing today. Maybe this is old news for you guys, but I've had a bit of OCD problem when changing name on a channel. The event still has the old name. Oh, right. Changing name on channel. To what channel are you talking about? Is this in Studio One or is this your YouTube channel? I don't know. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. But that's awesome, Stereolab. That really is a fantastic achievement to win an award for screenwriting. Screenwriting is an extremely hard business to really succeed in. So the fact that you have is very impressive indeed. Well done. So that's great to have some news to celebrate on the show. That's fantastic. So talking points for tonight. Yes, you guys have preempted me because one of them was going to be the demise of Gibson, because that's kind of current and important news. And I think we're buffering. We were for a second there anyway. Yeah, it's kind of current and important news. And probably affects a lot of us in the Studio One community. You know, being a lot of us are guitar players, or in my case, a guitar dabbler. I do have a nice guitar. It's an Ibanez AGR 70. It's gorgeous. I love it. And I have also played a Gibson and compared the two. And a friend of mine has a $6,000 Gibson guitar, and he let me have a play, and I kind of compared it to this guy, and you know what, this is only like $800, $900 maybe, and for me this is the better guitar. And my friend had a play on this as well, just to see if it was, you know, if it really was a guitar and it wasn't just me. And he said, yeah, you know what? He said he was considering selling his you know, $6,000-$7,000 guitar and going and buying himself an Ibanez. So Peter is talking about Studio One. He says, before I had to right-click the event to change the name manually, but today I found out if you hold Shift when pressing Enter after changing the channel name, all the events change too. Yes, that's a very, very cool little feature. I'm not really sure when they sneaked that one in. That might well have been one of those things that is always there in Studio One, but we just don't discover it until we discover it. You know, Studio One is I guess I'm not really sure alike or unalike compared to other DAWs in that you find things like that all the time. Like one of the features that they sneaked into Studio One 3.5 when that was launched was a quick and easy way to remove a plugin. So instead of having to click the little down arrow on the plugin and click, and when the little menu opens up, you then click remove. I mean, that's a couple of clicks. That really doesn't bother me personally, but there is a quick way to do it, which I'm sure some of you by now are well aware of, because I did make a video on the subject. Is that you can control, click, and drag, and the plugin disappears. It's no longer on your channel. So yeah, serendipity, as Chris says, serendipity occurs often in Studio One. Definitely. I think there are so many Easter eggs to be found in Studio One. I think we'll be very lucky to actually uncover every single feature that there is in Studio One. And with every point version, the free updates, they keep on adding, a whole bunch of features for free, 40, 50 features, I think it was in 3.5. And some fixes as well, some things just made better, some improvements, and some new features added. Some of the improvements were huge. Some of, like, pretty much the project page was completely redesigned for 3.5. And all of that was free. So, yeah. So Easter eggs in Studio One, there are always plenty to find. So if you find them, by all means, drop me a line and let me know, and you can tell me about it, and maybe I'll make a video on it and we can share it with everybody. That'd be cool. Bobby Booth says, hey Bobby, good to see you, mate. He says, if Epiphone goes down, maybe my DR100 would be worth some money. It's possible. D-Sound Recording Studio is here. He says, nice to get a list going. Yes. And D-Sound, it's good to see you. Welcome. Welcome to the show. MJN, my good friend Mike Neighbor, is here. He says, sorry I'm late, was eating dinner with my family. Yeah, I kind of, it's the way the scheduling works with me here in Scotland and you guys over in America. It's, yeah, it's a tough one. But I still personally, I've been doing this show for a little while now, and I still personally, I find it amazing that I'm sat here in my little tiny studio in the smallest room in my apartment in a small little low-rise block of flat apartments on an estate complex in the southeast of Edinburgh in Scotland in the United Kingdom. And I'm sat here, and you guys are all the way across the other side of the Atlantic in various parts of the United States, and you're listening to me, and you're watching me. I still find it amazing. But yes, it's midnight here. In fact, it's 1:15 midnight. So first talking point really was Gibson and its demise. Second talking point we'll come to in just a little moment. I need to take a swig of my extremely strong tea. So, my second talking point. Second talking point really is to do with developments here, actually. Just wanted to update you guys on what's going on. I'm sure I have mentioned that I am building a VIP members area for JonnyLipshamStudios.co.uk. That is still under construction. It's going well. Me and my good buddy Rich Westfall are working on it, and we've had some issues that we've had to work out, and some stumbling blocks, which we are a couple which we're dealing with at the moment. But hopefully, in the very near future, we will have it all kitted out and ready for you guys. So I have talked about it before, and I've talked about the things that you will get. I think I did it maybe in the last show or the show before that. I talked about some of the things that you're going to get as a VIP, and it will only cost you £12 in yeah, that's 12 GBP per month. Now, the way it will work in terms of taking your payments is that it will be done through PayPal, but the way we're going to work it is you do not have to have a PayPal account to make the payment. You hopefully the way it will work out is we'll be able to take your regular monthly payments just kind of automatically. PayPal will do that. And we should just be able to do it through your normal debit card. That should all be the way it works. If you have a PayPal account, you can do it that way as well. It probably will be easier if you have a PayPal account, but you don't have to have one. The way we're working on it is that we should just be able to take payments as normal, but they will be collected by PayPal and transferred into my PayPal account. So that's hopefully the way it's all going to work with the payment side of things. Not that that's the most important thing. The most important thing is the content that you guys are going to get, and the things that we're going to put in place for you. There's going to be a forum, which is going to be a great place where you can post the mixes that you're working on. You can discuss amongst yourselves issues that are coming up with content that I provide. So there's going to be regular things that I'm going to be putting in that forum. Some challenges, some tips, some tricks, some training, some in-depth video content that you guys will get that nobody else will get, because I'm not going to put it up here on YouTube, and I'm not going to put it up on the public part of the website. It will be just for you guys who decide to become VIPs. So you will get access to all of that content, plus you will get access to me personally that you won't get otherwise. And included in that will be mixed critiques. At the moment, I charge a fee for a mixed critique. But if you become a VIP, you get all of the other stuff and your mixed critiques included. So at the moment, mixed critiques will cost you £20 per time, okay? But if you become a VIP, you get all of the other fun stuff, plus you get stems from songs of mine, and you can mix those, you can remix them, and you can put them in your portfolios on your own websites. You can do all of that. All you need to do is just credit me as the artist and the song and the EP that it comes from, or album that it comes from. Basically, every song I write from my last EP in 2016, henceforth, if you're a VIP member, you will get the stems for every song, and you'll be able to mix and remix and do whatever you want in that respect, within reason, obviously, with the songs. John asks, do you also master songs that we have recorded for a CD? Yes, I do mastering as well as mixing. Yep, that is definitely a service I provide. I'm in fact, as we're talking at the moment, I'm working on was it a 12 or a 13 song? I think it's a 13 song album for a guy in Hong Kong at the moment. I'm mastering that for him. And he's a regular client of mine. I did an album with him. It's going to be 2 years ago, I think. And we basically did an album of his favorite jazz standards. And I did a lot of in fact, I did all of the keyboard work. I did some bass playing. In fact, I did all of the bass playing. I did all the keyboard playing, all the bass playing, and some of the drums. And for a couple of songs, we used drum loops, but for the most part, it was just me playing drums. Recorded the drums at my church. We recorded the bass, the guitar, all the keyboards here, and I even had trumpet and tenor saxophone recorded in here as well. So I did an album with him. Again, it was another 12-song album, and I played on that, I mixed it, and I mastered it. And that's the service I provide, which I call the full production deluxe version, because the deluxe basically means you get me playing on the record as well as mixing and mastering it. Okay. Robert Overbeek says, well, geez, perhaps if I were a VIP, you'd be able to respond to my rare questions asked. As it stands, I've noticed you always just skip right past me. Really? Is that so? Well, Robert, if that is the case, I owe you an apology. And henceforth, if I see you ask a question, my friend, I will endeavor to do my best to respond to it. Can I just say that if you're asking the questions in the chat here and I don't see it on the live stream, feel free to copy paste it into an email and send it to me there. Likewise, if you're asking the question in any of the Studio One groups on Facebook and I don't see it for whatever reason, then certainly feel free to email it to me and I will personally answer it and I'll respond to you. Just Bob says, scroll up, Robert has a question. Okay, I'll go take a look and I will see if I can find that. Sometimes the chat yeah, sometimes the chat stalls on here. Okay, I found your question, Robert. I do apologize. I've been talking away about stuff. All right, so let's just take a pause, talking about what I'm talking about the VIP stuff, and I'll get straight to this question. Robert says, I'm new to EQ and would like an opinion on frequency charts. I read good and bad. What chart do you know of that's good? All right. Frequency charts are extremely handy. And there are a few out there that are well produced, and there are a few out there that are not very helpful. Here's the thing with frequency charts. What a frequency chart will tell you is it will tell you what, generally speaking, are good things to emphasize, that is to boost with EQ, and what things are best avoided with EQ, basically cut. Okay. Now you will find that sometimes on those frequency charts, you could find that you're a little bit confused, because sometimes it will say this is a good area to boost for a vocal, for example, but it also says that it's a good place to cut, because the issue with EQ is that EQ is dependent, it's contextual. So it depends entirely upon the source material that you are EQing. And a whole bunch of other factors, such as what microphone was used, the vocalist, is the vocalist male or female? What is the range of the vocalist? Are they like me and they have a high voice? Or are they like, I don't know, you know, somebody that's got an incredibly deep and rich, resonant male voice? Barry White, for example. You know, he's the kind of guy that I think of when I think of deep, rich, resonant voices. He's the guy I think of. Or, you know, is it a female voice that is very high, like Kate Bush, or, you know, quite low, you know, kind of contralto sound like Diana Krall, for example. Those voices that I've kind of mentioned, you're going to treat differently, because if you try and do the same EQ boost and cut curves with, you know, kind of like a female vocal preset, for example, and you were to run Kate Bush's voice and Diana Krall's voice through the same EQ curve, you will get different results, and not necessarily particularly pleasant. Because for Diana Krall's voice, you might give her a little bit more top end than you would for Kate Bush, because Kate Bush has a very strong top end to her EQ curve. And likewise, you would not give too much weight down at the bottom end to Diana's voice, whereas you might to Kate Bush a little bit. So frequency charts are good for teaching you where is good to cut and where is good to boost. Then, if you're kind of not really sure, then yes, having one of those on your desk as a guide is a great thing to have. And then the rest, I would say, I know it's a little bit of a cliche, Robert, and I'm sorry, but the rest is kind of down to your ears and experimenting. Boost something like crazy and see, how harsh it is or how okay it is. If your ear is telling you there is a weird sort of kind of frequency going on in a male vocal, that's probably something you want to cut, because it's not necessarily a pleasant sound. So what you would do is you would take that particular, you'd grab a knob on the EQ and you'd boost it as high as you can with the bandwidth really, really narrow. So the Q, the band, which is called the bandwidth, really, really narrow. So you can be really, really precise at finding this particular frequency. When you find it, you will know about it, because you'll hear that thing that you've been going, I don't like that. I don't like that sound. And then you've boosted it by 24 dB, and boy, you're going to hear it. And then you just notch it out, maybe 3 dB. And that should clear up that little issue with EQ. So frequency charts, my good friend Rob Mazies, he's a fellow Brit. He runs a website called musicianonamission.com, and I highly recommend his stuff. Actually, I highly recommend his website and his content to you, because he's very good. He's a good young lad. He's a fellow Brit. He's also a fellow bassist, and he really does know what he's talking about. So, and he has a frequency chart. I think if you subscribe to his email list, I think you get his frequency chart to go with it. I think that's right. It certainly was the last time I checked. But I think you also get one of his books on compression, his ebook on compression as well. But yeah, he has frequency charts. They are definitely worth getting. Right. I hope that's answered your question. I'm going to quickly jump down to the bottom again. Woodby says, speaking of PayPal, did you get my donation? Yes, I did. Thank you, my friend. That's incredibly helpful. Thank you. Let's see. Chris says, I feel kind of bad. I sent you a song for a mixed critique. I didn't know you do that to pay the rent. Forgive the ignorance. Chris, that's not a problem, buddy. We will talk about that offline if you don't mind. We'll see what we can do for you, specifically. Okay, in this case. Chris says, I don't want to see no panties, but yeah. Yeah. Our guitar is here. Our guitar 78. Good to see you, mate. And he says, what do you think about analog limiters for vocal pre-PC interface? Good question. I think anything analog that you have before you go into your interface can be a good thing, but also can be a bad thing as well if you don't know what you're doing. The reason why I say that is because as Joe Gilder, my good friend out in Nashville, will tell you, he used his Presonus ADL 700 as the pre going into his console, going into Studio One. And when he was tracking drums in his studio, he had the snare drum going through the ADL 700. And what he didn't realize was the sound that was coming out of the speakers that he was monitoring was not the sound that was going through the preamp. So to him, the snare drum sounded fine, and they tracked like that all day. I think they tracked like 5 or 6 songs, and they tracked like that all day. What he didn't realize was that the snare drum, had he checked it, was being overcompressed. The problem is when you hit record and you've got a preamp or an EQ or a compressor going in to the interface, as soon as it hits that interface and hits the computer, hits Studio One, it prints to the track. And you cannot fix that. You cannot undo that overcompression. And he ended up with a horrible snare drum sound. He and I chatted about it a bit, and but in the end, he came up with a pretty creative solution for that. But really, that's kind of one of the things that you want to avoid. So you want to handle going in and printing to the track very carefully. That's just my opinion. Andy says, yeah, I had no idea about the mix critique either. Yeah, I think it's a service I maybe haven't really talked about or advertised much. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I do them pretty cheaply. I know some people do them for free, and some people don't. I'm one of those people that don't, because I need to make a living from what I do. Because I have to, you know, I have to pay my bills. I have to pay the rent. I have to get my kids through school, that kind of stuff. And I do this full time. This is what I do. So this is my job in here in the studio. Peter says, I've had a few mixes critiqued by Jonny Lipsham, followed his advice, and now my band is signed to a small indie label. Not quit my day job kind of money in it, but a lot of promotion and help with finding gigs. Peter, that's a fantastic comment to make there. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. And I'm so glad that you put into practice the advice that I gave you for your mixes, and I'm so glad that that has led to you guys being signed. I'm really pleased to hear that. You know what? That's actually made my day. That's really, really cool. Congratulations, Peter. I'm so glad that it's worked out that well for you. And hopefully, you know, going down the line, you know, with your first record with this label, that, you know, it will lead to quitting your day job kind of money ultimately. That'd be great. So I hope that works out for you guys. And Stereolab is boarding the plane. Have a safe flight, Stereolab. Take care, and catch up with you on the other side. Have a safe flight. Let's see what else is there that I might have missed. Robert Overbeek says, thank you very much. Sorry, dude, that I missed your question. I will try and not to do that in the future. Bobby Booth says, the one I would like to try to EQ would be Josh Turner, because he can sing in both high and low vocal. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one, actually, because even if the guy has a really big range, I mean, I say I have a high voice, but I actually have a big range. My vocal range is about, just a semitone shy of 4 octaves, which is pretty big for a guy. Most guys have a range of maybe 2 at best. I have a range of about, as I say, nearly 4 octaves. Because I can go very, very high, but I don't go massively low. I can some days I can go lower than others. But when you're EQing a voice that has a big range, what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to EQ the tone of the overall sound of the voice as much as anything else. You know, so in Kate Bush's case, she has what you would call a soprano voice. She has a very high pitched, almost, I'm not going to say shrill, but to some people's ears, it is a little bit, because there is quite a lot of 2K and, you know, 1.5, 2K, 3.5K going on in her voice. So, you know, kind of, I might notch some of that out. It depends on what else is going on in the rest of the arrangement, the rest of the mix, I would say. So yeah, so that's my little point there on EQing voices. Peter says, thanks a lot, Johnny. Part of it is your well-trained ears. Yeah, my ears, my ears have been well-trained. Not all of it has been, should we say, university trained. I did go to university, and I did do audio at university. I did audio with jazz, actually. So I did jazz composing and arranging. and audio. So I did the two as a combined degree. And just for fun, I chucked in a theology diploma whilst I was there, just to fill the time. And it was good. I came out with a distinction on my theology diploma, and came out with a distinction on my audio and a merit on my jazz composition and arranging degree. So all in all, fared quite well at university. First time round in the 1990s. So yeah, so a little bit of university training, but the vast majority of my ear development has been in studios and on the road, as well as mostly as a performing musician, but certainly I've been on the road as well as a sound guy as well. Although I kind of stopped doing the live sound maybe about 15 years ago, because, be honest, I really didn't like it. It was just something I just didn't like doing it, and found it much more enjoyable mixing in the studio context. So there you go. So that's kind of a little bit about that. So yeah, keep the questions coming, guys. We're about 36 minutes into the show, and we've got 18 people here. That's fantastic. So keep the questions coming, guys. I'm just going to take another tea break. Oh. I actually just totally missed my mouth. How embarrassing. Oh my word, I have a drinking problem. Sorry, guys. There we go. I'll try not to do that again. All right, so I guess another thing to talk about would be the updated 2018 version of the Studio Magic bundle, which I guess a lot of you guys, if you are PreSonus fans and followers, you may have seen it. In fact, if you have a PreSonus interface or one of the PreSonus mixers, then you probably have the updated Studio Magic bundle in your PreSonus account, if you haven't already realized that. So what they did was they took away a couple of things, and they added a couple of new things to it. So the Eventide went away, which I think some people were maybe a little bit sad about. Didn't really bother me personally too much. Bobby says he's got them. That's cool. And they added to it a Klanghelm plugin, which is like it's like a tube saturator, and it's very cool because it works as an EQ, it works as a compressor, and it does phenomenal things. That guy Tony, who runs Klanghelm, I've chatted to him a few times actually. When I did a review video of the MJUC compressor that he did, which is a fantastic compressor. Guys, if you don't have the MJUC compressor, I heartily recommend going to get it, because you pay, I think, 24 euros, which is only about $20. And you get essentially 3 compressors for the price of 1. It's really, really cool. And it's excellent. It's an excellent compressor, but this new saturator is really, really cool. I've had a little bit of chance to play with it. And I particularly like what it does to drums and vocals in particular. I think I'm going to find that that's probably, being a jazz guy, a little bit of saturation, just a hint, just a hair, is going to be really, really cool for kind of what I do here. Chris said he only had 2 in his PreSonus account. Yeah, that's probably because you've already got the rest. If you've already got the rest of the Magic bundle, then you're not going to get those plugins a second time. You just get the updates, the new ones that are available to it. So the other one that you get is Outputs, what's it called? Movement, which is kind of hard to describe what it does. It kind of takes your audio and splits it out somehow and plays different rhythms with it on the left side and on the right side, depending upon where you move it around in the stereo spectrum, which seems to be really, really cool. If you are an EDM guy, that is going to be awesome for you, because you can do that thing with a saxophone sample for if you're into doing trance beats, then yeah, a little saxophone sample or a vocal sample or something like that using the output movement thing is going to be great. Personally, I personally don't have an application for it, really. Unless I really think deeply out of the box, maybe I might, but for the most part, I don't think I personally will have an application for it. But it's really, really cool. Now, I think some of you may have had some trouble downloading the output movement plugin. I know I did. It took me, maybe 3 or 4 goes before I got it. It was quite frustrating, but eventually I did get it, and it's fine. It works. Not a problem. Let's see. What else am I missing? Skip Jones is here. Good to see you, Skip. He says, I would have rather had the K meters, but it would run against the PreSonus meters. Yeah, because you have the K system built into the PreSonus monitoring for the mix bus, and you also have it on the level meter plugin, and you also have it on the metering in the project page as well. I use the K system extensively, but yes, I might have quite liked to use the K meters and compare and see, just kind of compare and see how accurate the PreSonus ones are in comparison. That could be quite interesting. Andy says, that's what I do most, live sound. I get some great live stems from that to mix and practice. Can't wait for my new Series 3 mixer to get here. I bet you can. You know what, Andy? I love my mixer. I love my Series 3 16. It's awesome. I mean, it's smaller than what you guys maybe have. I know Johnny has the 24, and I know Dave Vignola has the 32. I don't have envy at all because I'm quite happy with my little compact little guy. Now it does have some features missing that the 24 has. Like some of the, being able to have the buses kind of appear on a separate bank of faders. That's pretty cool. And then actually some of those user buttons that are on the 24 and the 32, you don't have those on the 16, which is a little bit of a shame. So I can't map any of those buttons, unfortunately. But there may be a way around that for the 16, which I've just not found yet. Let's see. Peter says, speaking of theology and music, in Sweden, to become a church musician, don't know if there's a word for it in English. That's fine. Church musician is fine. You have to be able to play Prima Vista. Is that something you can do? I have played Prima Vista, and I have a little bit of a background in Bach chorale harmony because I had to study that at university. And yeah, all that kind of stuff. And Gregorian plain song. I have some background in that as well. But in the UK, no, unless you are unless you're a church musician in what we would call a high Anglican church, and you're the church organist, then, or you are a cathedral organist, you pretty much don't need that background. To be honest, a lot of churches in the UK, we have a worship band that comprises of largely the same instrumentation as a rock band or a soul band would have. So yeah, we don't need to do Prima Vista. Just Bob says, have you delved into the apps for personas for iPad or Android. I have found it really helpful since I work in a 7x6 space. I can move out into an open space with my guitar. I know I haven't. Mostly sensible reasoning coming up, which is rare for me. I don't have an iPad and I don't have an Android tablet. So no, I haven't. But maybe when I've got some money together and I can get one of those devices, perhaps I will get the remote control app. Sean Aaron says, I did a recording using Ampire's Metal Pack. Yes, the Metal Pack is really good, by the way. Oh, my chat has just jumped. I did a recording using them. I can hear the click track during silence. It's never done that before. Any advice? It could well be that the Ampire, I don't know, that could be something to do with gain, I guess, or crosstalk or something. It shouldn't do it just on its own, unless you're recording with your amp mic'd up, and then you're going through the metal pack, which you might be doing. I don't know. If you are, then it's probably you've got some bleed from your headphones, and the mic has picked that up. And when you've used the gain on the metal pack, and you've overdriven the signal, which automatically compresses the signal, then yeah, it's probably likely brought that up a bit. That's the only thing I can think of. Here's one thing you can try. You can try the strip silence feature and then have a play with the parameters for the strip silence feature until you get something that you can work with that sounds transparent. Or you can manually strip silence. It will take you a little bit longer using the range tool and the delete key. You know, just grabbing those silent areas with the range tool and hitting delete key. That might work, and then just kind of fade in, fade out the events at those points, so that they're nice and smooth. That's one way you can do it. Personally, I don't tend to worry too much about bleed unless it's very obvious and it's not something you want. Oh, you guys are asking for my PayPal link. Okay, 1 second, I'll get that for you. Let me see. Hopefully, when I paste this into the chat, this will work. There you go. Hopefully, you can see that now down the bottom. What have I missed whilst I've been chatting away? You're talking about likes, which is cool. Thank you. iGuitar says, I got the new VST set up and found out there's a new installer for the Inventide one. They can direct you to if you've had it registered already and need to install it again. Well, that's cool. That's good to know. Thank you for that. Don Prue says, hi. Good to see you, Don. Glad you're here. Bobby says, thanks, Skip. Forgot to hit the like. Woodby says, donate to Johnny. Also, Skip, likes and not dough. You know what? I appreciate both. I appreciate likes. I appreciate donations. I never ask for donations generally. And that's not because I'm proud or anything. It's just, I don't like to coerce money from people. I don't like to make people put money in my PayPal account. It's something I wish for them to be able to just do voluntarily. As they wish to. It's not something I ever say, please donate, and that's not me. That's not me. So likes are great because what likes do is they help me with my status with YouTube. If people see my videos being liked, then the YouTube bots go, oh, well, this must be good then. We might promote this. So, and that helps me. That helps me a lot. D-Sound Studio Recording Studio says, do you know if the Studio 192 DSP will be brought in line with the Studio Live mixers as in the classic compressor and EQ update in Studio One? That's a good question. I don't have the 192, so I'm not sure about that. Skip has the 192, and I know Johnny Guide does, and they may have some inkling about that. I don't. I have none whatsoever, I'm afraid. Chris has asked how I donate, and I have done that. He deserves it or sign up for his series. Yeah, signing up to become a VIP is going to be the next big thing, folks. And to be honest, it will be better for you if you sign up to become a VIP than just to donate. Because donating is just, is one thing. You that's you just giving me money because you appreciate what I do. But being a VIP, you get a lot more stuff, a lot more great content out of it that's going to help you. But that is definitely coming, guys. We've just hit a snag or two with developing it. But once we've got it and we've nailed it and we've got all of those, I will announce it with maybe even fireworks, possibly indoor fireworks. No, because the kids will be sleeping next door, so maybe that's a bad idea. Silent fireworks. Tinsel, something. I'll have something where we will announce it. I might even have a small fanfare. But yeah, so that's that. The other thing that is coming is also an email list, which I'm going to be. You can sign up to that as well very shortly. Actually, that is something that's going to come very, very soon. Probably next week. I will be putting out a link to a sign-up form where you can sign up for my email list. When you sign up to the email list, you will get my 5-part compression video series that I did a while back. It is on YouTube, but you will get the raw video files, which means you can keep them on your computer and you can open them up whenever you need to, and you can watch the series in sequence and you not actually have to worry about YouTube ads. YouTube is great, and it's great that I make a little bit of money from the ads, but you will get those videos ad free. You will also get stems to one of my songs as well, which you can mix to your heart's content. So yeah, so you'll get both of those when you sign up to my email list. And email list, basically, you'll get regular emails about what I'm doing here in the studio and new content that I'm making. And you'll get advance notice of things like my next EP and any new products that I make with Dave Vignola or any new products that I make by myself. You'll get advance notice of those, and I will work out with Dave. If you're watching, we need to talk about this. But I'm going to try and work out with Dave a way in which, if you become a VIP, you get a discount for products that I make with Home Recording Made Easy. But you will, if you sign up to the email list, I'm going to work out a way in which we can get pre-ordering for email list subscribers, and the VIPs will get that as well. But yeah, email list, you will get pre-ordering, hopefully, for any new products that I make. So there's a whole bunch of other crazy stuff that you'll get through your inbox that's going to be helpful, hopefully. Let's see. Whoopi says it worked. Cool. Skip doesn't have a site. He's just a worker bee. Yeah, but Skip is a great dude. We love Skip very much. Just Bob says, at Woodbeast, how is the Bring Johnny to America funding going? Yeah, we've kind of put that a little bit on hold because I have some other financial concerns that I have to take care of that have been a bit of a surprise. So me coming out to America is kind of taking a little bit of a backseat at the moment, folks. I was hoping that maybe this summer it might have been possible. It's now looking like that's going to be next to, probably adjacent to, waving casually across the street from, impossible. So I wish it were different, but it's looking like that's the case. Because yeah, some things have come up that we need to that are a financial priority. So there you go. But hopefully, maybe 2019 will be the year that I get across the pond and I get to hang out with some of you. That would be awesome. Bobby says link doesn't work for me, but we'll go to his website and do it there. There's no PayPal link on my website as yet. That is something we are also working on, because I have to link everything to the one button. So yeah, so just the thing to do with that link is maybe copy paste it into your browser directly. That might work. Let's see. Party hat says maybe a party hat. Yes, I may put on a party hat to announce the VIP. Where's the fundraiser found so we can all donate? Woodby says, does that mean I'll be a VIP? Woodby, we'll talk about that offline, buddy. Because I've got some ideas and some plans that I would like to include you in. Skip says, just the sound of a high pitched yay yay. That's great, mate. Woodby says, Johnny pasted his info, but yes, I did. I thought it was separate from okay. Bobby says, waiting to sign up for the VIP. Well, thank you very much, Bobby. That would be awesome. Bobby says, maybe I donated too soon. No, not at all, man. You're not in trouble. You're absolutely not in trouble, okay? Absolutely not in trouble. I have a plan brewing in my brain, mister, that we're going to talk about, okay? I will email you and get you in on it. All right, we are coming up for 1 a.m. here, which will be 7 o'clock Central Time. Chris says he's waiting to sign up for the VIP too. Thank you so much. That's really great. We've got 17 people watching, and we've had round about that all the way through, which is great. Thanks, guys, so much for coming and listening to me just talk today. I didn't really do any demonstrations. But I am going to take actually a little bit of a different direction with my live streams, which hopefully you guys will engage with a bit more. So it won't be just, it will be a little bit less passive for you. Because I like to have active engagement. I like to have active learning going on. So yeah, I've got things brewing in my teacup of ideas for the live streams. Now, I am looking at options whereby I can get more bandwidth, so that I can do this this new idea for the live streams. But hopefully, it will be really engaging content, and hopefully, it will help stimulate you guys with more questions. Although you guys really do ask some of the best questions I get to see, which is fantastic. So thank you for that. Andy Arthur says, anyone have a suggestion for a good but inexpensive HD video camera? I have need to record video for my channel and for live bands. If you're talking USB webcam style camera, I have, excuse me, that was weird. The one I have is made by a company called HP. And it's a 1080p HD camera, although looking at it on YouTube through my bandwidth, it really doesn't look like 1080p, but really it does shoot in 1080p. And it was very inexpensive. And in fact, if you have one of these and you've got a steady hand, or you can get a really cheap a tripod stand for one of these guys, You can get them on eBay for ridiculously cheap. One of those flexible stands with the flexible legs that you can just like move about and twist about and stuff. This shoots in 1080p. And the mic on it here is actually really, really reasonably good quality. And if you've got a little bit of extra cash, splash out, I would suggest, on a Rode mic. Company that makes this guy here, makes the NT1A. They make a video, what do they call it? A Video Pro mic, I think is what they call it. And it literally plugs into your headphone jack here. You know, kind of like your headphone rig would for making hands-free calls. It plugs in here, and the mic itself has its own gain and compressor, I think, built in. And it's fantastic. I have seen people shooting video with really, really high quality picture and really high quality audio, and they've shot it on one of these guys with a tripod stand. Bobby says he does not have a steady hand. Yeah, neither do I, really. But yeah, one of those stands, one of those little tripod stands, your phone, one of those little Rode mics, and you're good. You can definitely do it that way. And I've seen some really high quality videos made that way. I want to get one of the stands, and actually I want to get one of those little mics as well. So that'd be cool. Andy says, I have a Studio One question. When I write, say, volume automation on a track and then go to write pan automation, it erases the volume. I'm using my CS18 to write. Yeah, what you need to do to have different things for automating on your track is you need to how can I explain this? You need to open like a separate automation lane. So you have one automation lane for volume and one automation lane for panning. And then they are separate lanes, so never the twain meet in particular, which means you can write your automation using the faders on your CS18 or your pan knob, whatever it is, on your CS18, and you should be fine with that. When you look at your channel, your track, I should say, in the track view, you know, kind of like here's the screen up on this side, where here's your event, here's your track on the side. At the start of it, you've got like a little tab at the start, which is where it's colored the same as your track color, and just underneath it, if you expand the track, you click a little down arrow at the very end of your track there, and it opens up the default automation lanes. And this was new for Studio One 3.5. We have volume and panning automation kind of like there already. I think if you go to my Studio One 3.5 series, it's one of the videos in that series there that I kind of show that's there. It's a very cool little feature. And yes, you can write two separate. What you need to do is you need to write two separate automation lanes to be able to do that. So I hope that helps you, Andy. And that is going to be the last question of the evening. And that's a really good one to finish off with. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming. Really appreciate it. And I'm going to keep trying to keep these streams going every Sunday if I possibly can. And Andy's got it. Good. That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm going to try and keep these streams going every Sunday, 6 p.m. Central Time. And yes, I do kind of like do a little ad just to let you know that it's happening. But I think by and large, the assumption for you guys is the stream is going to go ahead unless I put out something that says it isn't. I mean, I'll put out an ad that says it is as well, because, you know, that's a way for me to get more people involved. But if just assume that the stream is going ahead, 6 p.m. Central on this channel, unless I put something out that says it isn't. Like I think last Sunday, I had to cancel because I was on jury service and I needed my sleep because the trial was pretty intensive and pretty emotionally draining, to be honest. So yeah, I'm going to keep them going every Sunday. So thanks ever so much, folks, for coming out. And Frank Wagner has just dropped in. I don't know if he's been kind of watching, and then this is the first time he's posted in the chat. But thanks for coming, every single one of you. Really appreciate it. I will be on Songwriting Simplified with Johnny Gibe on his YouTube channel on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central. And in the meantime, keep your eyes open for the next episode of this Studio One from Scratch series. We'll be doing episode 4. That will be coming up this week. So we're going to be getting into the nitty-gritty of the song page. A lot of you guys are well versed and seasoned in all things Studio One and how to do the basics. But there are some folks here that are definitely very new to working in a DAW context. And so that series is mostly for them. But you know what? It always helps to have a refresher of the basics as well sometimes. So thanks a lot, guys. Keep an eye out for those things, and keep your eyes open also for an announcement about the email list that should be coming up this week. Fingers crossed for that. And as soon as possible, I will be getting the VIP rolled out as well. Bobby says he still learns from them. Well, you know what? That's fantastic, Bobby. Appreciate it very much. So yeah, I'm going to try and get the VIP rolled out as soon as possible. We're really excited about it, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be epic. So I will do some videos going into that in depth, and we'll maybe dedicate a live stream to it as well. All right, guys, take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a good week, and I will see you around on the Facebook groups and on Johnny's stream on Wednesday. Good night.